Welcome to BitBoy Crypto, the largest crypto channel in all of the interwebs. My name is Ben. Every day on this channel, I show you how to make money in cryptocurrency. If you like money and crypto, make sure to go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Smash up the likes if you want to win a full Bitcoin. You guys can get the information on that down below in the video description. Guys, today I'm going to be giving you guys an urgent warning about Bitcoin that you've got to hear before tomorrow. And I'm going to show you exactly what I did last time this occurred and how I made an absolutely huge trade, which, by the way, we got big announcement about a trade or about some trading stuff I want to talk to you guys about this week. So definitely be on alert for that. Also, guys, I found out a new option. I found a new option on my car here. Check this out. Watch this. The visor moves. Wow, look at that. It's pretty revolutionary, I know. Usually on Sunday mornings, I'm coming to you with a drive from church, but I got a little food poisoning yesterday, which you guys can see I'm still here, still kicking. I got a little food poisoning last night. Didn't feel great all night, but I had to come out here. We're playing hooky from church today. Coming out here, giving you guys the video that you guys need, because there's important stuff going on with Bitcoin. Everybody's bullish right now, and the fact is, Bitcoin is bullish. And of course, at the end of this video, by the way, I'm going to be giving a few thoughts on my Michael Saylor interview. So you definitely don't want to stick around for that. A lot of really good feedback from that interview, and we will be having part 2 out at 2 o'clock today. But let's talk about Bitcoin in the short term, because yesterday Bitcoin topped out on Bybit, at least, at exactly $62,000. And everybody's saying 70K is imminent. Everybody's typing on Twitter, 60K is the new bottom. And then what happened this morning? We went back below 60K. These support and resistance lines usually don't work out as pretty as people would have you believe that they do. But one thing is for sure, unless today we get an epic fall of a few percent to put the price back below $58,000 or so, we have emerging a new CME Gap. Now, what are the CME Gaps? We talk about them a lot. CME, the Chicago Mercantile Exchange, these are the Bitcoin futures contracts. Now, what we see is, since they're only open 5 days a week, is that on Friday when they close, there's 2 days of Bitcoin action on the weekend that they miss. So sometimes the price will drop considerably lower or considerably higher, or will rise considerably higher over the weekend, and it creates gaps in the chart. We don't see this in the traditional crypto markets because, as you know, everything is 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in the crypto markets. There's no off days, which, you'd think the stock market and CME could get on with that. You don't think people are trading on the weekends? But the point is that the last time we saw this, it was at 49,500. And the price of Bitcoin, I believe at the open, was like maybe $52,000, $51,000. So I had set a really big trade on Bybit, which if you want to trade on Bybit, make sure to head on over to bitboycrypto.com/deals. And just a reminder, if you want to get Market Cipher, today's the last day for 10% off. The code drops to 5% starting tomorrow. That's from the man Crypto Phase himself. I can't fight him on it. I just got to go with it. So make sure you guys, get your Market Cipher copy while you can. But I had set a buy order for Bybit at 49,500. And if you watched our Hit Network videos this weekend, or maybe when I talked with my friend Jim on the live stream last week, he made his first 6-figure trade ever, because he did exactly what I said. Set that buy order for right at that CME Gap. Give yourself enough room to make sure it doesn't wick down. And he made a 6-figure trade off that, because the next day the price absolutely boomed. Well, right now we're seeing a similar situation where the CME Gap, I don't know exactly where it is. I haven't actually, I did pull it up earlier this morning. I forgot to double check it before I went live here. Before I got this video, forgot exactly where it is. It's somewhere between $57,000 and $59,000. Don't have that exact number for you. You can check the CME Gap, or check the CME chart on TradingView. You guys can Google it and pull it up probably. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to set an order down right at that CME Gap overnight. And 7:30 Eastern Standard Time tonight, or 6:30 Central Standard Time, is when the CME futures opens. So that means that will be the time where we know exactly what the spread is between the gap. Now, there's a chance today the market could dump and could get down there before that. If that happens, then that's also bullish, because generally what we see is we have to see these gaps get filled. Now, what is the fundamental reason? Some people will tell you it's because, the institutions are always going to pull it back and get their orders filled and stuff like that. I don't think that's necessarily the case, especially when we see really small gaps. I just think that it boils down to this. Most of the time they get filled, number one, because the market just moves up and down. That's just the way that it works. So, it's not like when you see these gaps that, it's never going to go back to that level again. It almost always will do that. But number two, there is a psychological effect, since people do understand that these gaps do exist, that people like me, based on history, say, I'm going to set an order there, because generally they come down and fill. So they act like little magnets, just kind of pulling the price of Bitcoin back down to them. And so right now, that's what I'm going to be doing, is setting an order right at that CME Gap. I'm going to go in probably, here in a couple minutes, coming to you live from the driveway today. Going to come over and set that order, and hopefully it'll get filled overnight, and we'll have a really big day tomorrow. And then I can talk to you guys about that trade, and I can also talk to you tomorrow about what we're going to be doing. But it may not get filled. Maybe it doesn't get filled right away. But once that gap does get filled, that gives Bitcoin basically permission, I guess you could say, to continue running to the upside. So everybody's saying $70,000 or $80,000. Well, yes, I do believe that is going to happen. I think this week we are going to see massive moves. I think we basically have about 2 weeks of really bullish action going on here until the futures contracts expire on the 26th for the month. And that's when I think we'll see a big, massive pullback leading into April, which is tax time. Who knows what's going to happen next month? But, Bitcoin is already above a lot of people's wildest dreams and expectations, but it's just getting started. And I think my interview with Michael Saylor, which, by the way, a lot of people complain about the music. We're not going to do music on interviews anymore because I think some people said Michael Saylor was talking a little low. They couldn't really hear him. So we released a second version last night with no music. We're just going to keep them both up. And then the one today will be posted at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time with no music. So you guys can get access to that and watch the second part. Second part's extremely interesting for a lot of different reasons. Me and Michael kind of go at it a little bit. We kind of go at it over some things. And I think we were basically talking about the scarcity and rarity of Bitcoin, and I think we were just kind of coming from two different perspectives. But one thing's for sure, Michael Saylor believes there's going to be no bear market. He thinks this is it. He thinks that the last Bitcoin cycles are totally irrelevant. They mean nothing. He can't make predictions. I don't know if it's because, he can't make like very bold, like absolute predictions, I think because of his, role as CEO of MicroStrategy. But he definitely implies a giant price for Bitcoin, but can't really give us a schedule for when that's going to happen. So you guys will just have to check out that interview. But I think at the end of the day, I love what Michael had to say. I did not love that he got only one out of about 12 jokes that I made. Or maybe he got them and he just hated them and wanted to ignore them. I'm not sure about that, but it's a great interview. A lot of good feedback. Part 2 today is going to be just as good. I hope these videos get 1 million views. Not because I want to get 1 million views on a video, but the stuff he says is so important to look at what he's doing and to look at his idea of Bitcoin as the apex predator, the Godzilla of assets, the Godzilla of wealth is Bitcoin. And today we're going to address, in this interview, several different topics. But I think for me personally, I love what he says. I'm just going to keep riding with history until it doesn't work. And then when it doesn't work, I'm really in a no-lose situation. I went and played some golf at Topgolf on Friday night, which was pretty exciting. I met one of my friends' or boss or partner. I don't exactly know the relationship, but he's been watching the channel for about a year, and he's made a lot of money, and he's done really well. We got to go play Topgolf together. It was awesome, talking with him and hanging out. And, what we've been able to change a lot of people's lives on this channel, and it has been so refreshing to see that. And the history works, and it's going to keep working until it doesn't work. And because of that, I think the importance of, looking at the cycles is so pivotal. But what I told Mark is his name. Mark, shout out Mark. Had a great time. I did outdrive you and Quinn, but I'll just leave that for another day, okay? But the point is what I told him. I said, I'm really in a no-lose situation with it, because if the Bitcoin cycles bear themselves out, then, you know, we look like geniuses because we're riding with history. But if the Bitcoin cycle gets broken and the price of Bitcoin doesn't correct and it keeps going up for a very, very, very long time because its true value has been proven, then, oh God, I was wrong and we're all insanely rich, you know? So, I mean, everybody's going to be totally happy, you know, whether you're, here's the takeaway. Anticipate a drop, anticipate the bear market, but don't get to a point where you go 100% off the table in case we're wrong. You want to hedge your bets. You want to hedge your bets. So, yeah, guys, that's all I got for today. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Check out my Michael Saylor video today at 2. You know, feeling a little under the weather today, so I'm going to take a day off to kind of break and relax. Of course, after I give you your daily content, probably going to go back to bed is what I'm going to do. But I'm going to set that order first. You guys let me know where you think Bitcoin is going over the weekend. I see a 70 to 80K Bitcoin over the next couple of weeks. Drop your predictions down below. That's all I got. Be blessed. Good boy out.